Yep.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So this is the work that we do with refugee women. So let's get some background. Something we really wanted to, because not everybody knows, and we don't want to assume that everybody here on this platform have a understanding of who refugee are or what even the status of refugee is. So the status, refugee is a status that has been given to a group of individuals back in 1951 during what they call the UN Refugee Convention. So it really took place in Europe after World War I when they got together and decided that really what happened in Europe with during the Jewish Holocaust should not take place. Individuals should know what to do when a gross violation of human rights take place. So they, and by they, I mean that group of individuals where you can see the picture, but I realize it looked like it's slightly small, came and together and define a refugee. So in a nutshell, a refugee is really somebody who has a genuine fear, and that will be described for 5 genuine fear for their life on those 5 specific areas based on the basis of race, religion, membership to a particular group, or nationality, or even political opinions. So that's what makes you one of the basic definition of a refugee. It is a legal status, it is a protected status and a protected class. As of today, well, I will say maybe as of maybe just few months ago, we have a little bit over 82 million forcibly displaced people worldwide. And this number kept growing as you hear new conflict. And now with the conflict happening in Ukraine, this number will really grow even larger, unfortunately. And out of those forcibly displaced people, those who qualify under the status of refugee are roughly about 26 million. We still have 4.1 million people who are what we call stateless, meaning they really don't have any state that claim them or offer protection at this point. And at the very bottom, you will see that those that are resettled, and we will explain what resettled means, are not even just a little over 107 million. I mean, so 107,000, not million.
You enjoy this. I just came looking for you. I don't know where you were.
And something to notice here, and that will explain a little bit why we focus on the refugee women. It's like 50% of refugee, and actually 50% of forcibly displaced individuals are women, and they're very young, under the age of 18. And they show that it's roughly every single minute. Now this number is over 20. Every single minute they think about 25 individuals are forcibly displaced. With all these numbers, it is a lot of numbers, but if you notice, only 1% ever get to be resettled. And people are really shocked to find out that it is only 1% are able to go to another country to be able to start over again. I kind of like this picture. This is Aleppo. I don't know if you remember in Syria. Aleppo was in the news just a couple of, I think about a year or so back. But also this famous poet, the Warsam Shire, he said, no one leaves home unless home is the mouth of the shark. And this is really the stories of refugee over and over. Sometimes people will ask them, well, why do you have to come here? Why do you have to leave? Or so, I mean, I think those questions now with what's happening around us, this world is really becoming a global village. People ask less, why do you come here? Because we see the realities. And he really captured that through his quote here. So where do they, how do they come here? Where do they go? What happened to them? Specifically here in the US, the refugee and resettlement program is actually a bipartisan decision. Every year we have the president of the state, or the president of the United States and Congress make a decision on how many refugees they can resettle in the US. In that yellow little box, you see through different administration, you will see the number of refugees that were admitted in the US. And you can see for 2022, the ceilings has been 125. And having a ceiling doesn't mean we really reach that number. It just means that's how much we think we will be able to admit. But here's an interesting fact. Where are refugees going? 85%. I remember the first time I saw this, I was really surprised. 85% of refugees are being hosted in developing countries, not in the US, not in the countries that are well, I will say well-to-do, but really in developing countries, 85% of that 1% who ever get a chance to be resettled. And you can see some example, for example, Turkey. You see Turkey listed. You see Uganda. Uganda hosts 1.5 million refugees annually. And then you have Turkey that hosts about 3.7. And on that 3.7, doesn't count the most recent refugee that will come through Ukrainian. But also with what we hear in the news is something really worth mentioning, as we not only those that are captured by the news media do not cover all those that are being displaced, obviously, but there are a lot of refugee crises right now in Nigeria, for example, and we know with Myanmar, the Rohingya crisis. There are in Eritrea, there are a lot of refugee groups that remain unnamed because the media did not bring them to our attention. So it's worth mentioning, and it's worth recognizing that there are other people also who go through this. This is also another fact. We get asked a lot, do they get screened? I'm telling you, I always joke sometimes when I do a present, I say, some of the screening, they go over, this is the screening that refugees go over 8 federal agencies. They go through the FBI, the Homeland Security. And I always joke, I say, sometimes we have family members who can't even pass 2 of those screenings, right? We know those family members sometimes. So, but they are the most screened people group that come to the US, not even tourists go through any of these screenings before coming to the US, at least have to go that they know, knowingly knowing that they're going through those biometrics data, background check. And it takes a long time. It takes an average of about 2 years before a refugee ever resettle in the US. Locally, this is what we have roughly statewide. We have about, just for this year, 2021-22, fiscal year 2021-22, we have about statewide in Florida, about 30,000 refugees that have been resettled. That's on top of whoever was. So this is what we have. In Hillsborough County, we have a little bit over 3,000. In Pinellas County, we have 522. And this is, again, the number is growing. So now to us, now that we have a background, let me ask, Rita, do you want us to have all questions at the end, right? We have a Q&A at the end? Or you're muted?
Whatever you feel good about, Florence. If you want to take a little break now and open it up for questions, that's just fine. We can, you know how to get in and out of screen sharing. You can take it back to the full group anytime you want to. I'm sure there are questions. I suspect people have hundreds of questions. So just kind of do what feels good to you.
Okay, I mean, either way, I also want to be cognizant of, because I have my colleague who will be presenting on the, so how about this? How about I at least finish my presentation, then I take on some questions, just a little bit, then I will pass the baton to Courtney. And at the end, we will have this big Q&A. Will that be okay?
Yeah,
so
that's good. We got a question in the chat from Helen saying, why so small in Pinellas? Which is an interesting question, actually.
It is. It's actually, well, Pinellas also is, Hillsborough County is really a larger county too. And then it's also depend on each county, really, it's on capacity, right? We have, and right now we only have 3 resettlement agencies. Well, technically we have 2 resettlement agencies operating here in Tampa Bay area, which is Lutheran Services, and the new one, which is World Church Services, which is brand new. They just arrived like with the Afghan. That's when they reopen here in the Tampa Bay area. And Lutheran Services have a contract with Gulf Coast which serve panelists. So we have capacity and logistic that really reduce, but also panelists, it's really limited with the housing crisis and all of that. That's why we have a very smaller number. I hope that answered your question. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. So RAMWI, our organization, again, it's called RAMWI. We've been in existence. We're a 501c3 organization. We've been in existence for the past 8 years now, right? If my math are good, since 2013. We are currently offering three core programs. We have a wellness group, we have a social enterprise that we call the So Much Hope, and then we have a women leadership and empowerment program called the Well Institute. So with the wellness support group, this is really a psychoeducational program. What that means is we meet once a month. We bring support. It's like a support group. We empower the women. They get to know a couple of things that we do. We provide a safe environment to start over. It's an environment for them to get to know their community, but also the community to get to know them, because we do invite community members for specific things, but also they learn the new environment, such as we go over hurricane season. A lot of refugees come from areas where they don't have a hurricane. They don't even know what it is. So we have a session usually around July or June, right at the beginning of hurricane season, where we have a session on disaster preparedness. We also do things like school system, the school system. Those are very practical sessions that we do. We do financial literacy, but also we do things such as coping mechanism, grief. So this environment provides the women with skills. It empowers them. It allows healing. It allows connectedness, because a lot of the refugees, when they come, one of the core things with refugee really when it comes to the mental health is that sense of isolation, depression, sense of loss and trauma. So being able to get together and really do life. We have some women who say, I'm so glad when I come at this support group because I can finally breathe and be with other people who know what my experience was, and other people who really speak life and hope into my life. So those are some of the things that we do during the psychoeducational support group. The second program, which is what Courtney will really focus on. I will be very brief on this because this is, Courtney will talk about it. This is our social enterprise program, where we learn technical skills. So that really the idea is, well, it's one thing to be able to talk about what we do, how to function in this community, but it's another also to be able to help them while they're learning that English, for those who need English, learning to navigate the medical system. They also they will be able to generate supplemental income for their family. So through our social enterprise, which mainly it's sewing, we have done other things such as jewelry making, different kind of things, but sewing has been one of the main things. We offer a full curriculum actually for sewing, where the women graduate and they receive a free sewing machine at graduation, and they're able to do some other work, and we have some contract. Again, I will let Courtney cover that. She is our director of social enterprise. I will not steal the show on that particular program. The final program that we have, and those are the core program. I will talk a little bit about what we do in between. It's our newest program. We started this last year. It's called the Well Institute, which stands for Women Empowerment and Leadership Institute. We do that in collaboration with higher institutions, mainly USF, but we have some interest with University of Tampa and other girls. So we bring students and the women together, and it is a session. It is an institute. Sometimes, depending on the topic, it's a 3 days or a 5 days institute, and the women have to attend all of them to receive a certificate. So far, they have done entrepreneurship, an amazing class on entrepreneurship. They have done one on advocacy, which was really, really powerful. Advocacy, and where they learn about the key points in advocacy, self-advocacy, and talking to, and pleading for certain causes and how to do so. And we have lawyers or professors who teach those things. So in everything RAMWI offer, we really bring experts in a specific area, because we do believe in not only the equality, but we believe that the women really have also something to offer to the community, which is why we bring community and the women, because one of the main things we want to do is no longer an us versus them. It's really a we. They are our newest community members, right? So eventually for them to be able to contribute more than what they already do through culture, through the skills that they bring, we really are able to invest in them. And also at the end, they're also able to give back to the community that welcomed them and their new home. At the bottom, you will see some of the topics for this year. At the very bottom, they already did advocacy, but they have workforce readiness, which is currently going on right now. Every Thursday, they have a workforce readiness that they do in downtown Tampa. We have, again, disaster preparedness and resilience. Again, we look back to introduction to entrepreneurship, then health and wellness. Those are just few topics that we do, and it's every month that this certificate course is offered. Okay. Oh, all right. I was going to just cover this, but this is a subject that we're really working on, starting a wellness, mental health wellness circle. Refugee come with a specific trauma called the triple trauma paradigms. What it really means, it's a mouthful word, but it really means that they go through trauma through different, three main, tiers, and that it's a continuum. It's not one thing, one trauma start and another one stop. It's just when it started. That's why they call it the triple trauma paradigms. They have the trauma that they experience in the country of origin, which is the main reason, which is linked to the reason they become refugee. It can be torture, the religious persecution, or war. And then there's the trauma related to migration, what we call during the journey. Again, refugees are some of the most vulnerable people group when it comes to violation of human rights or human trafficking, you name it, because during that migration, during that journey, some of the things that and the unknown future, and even the loss, when we cover loss that refugee can potentially go over, we mentioned that it's not just loss of people, loss of family members, but also loss of status, things that we don't think of. We have refugees who were doctors, who were lawyers, or who were farmers, or stay at home. But that loss of status, is equally important as the loss of somebody as well. And then the third one, which sometimes surprises a lot of people, is the trauma that they experience in the final, well, I don't like to call it final destination, but really the resettlement, the country of resettlement. So when they come to the US, people think, oh, that's great, now they can try, but this is also carry trauma, and what we call the trauma linked to resettlement. Based on family separation, we have people who arrive and have been separated with families. We have discrimination that they go over, some people don't know, they think they're illegal, or why are they there? So they experience some kind of discrimination, underemployment. Like I say, I've worked with some people who have been high-ranking civil servants, right, in their community, but they come here maybe because they don't speak English. Now they have to work at McDonald's until they learn English. Imagine the trauma that brings, and underemployment also, because if the language is an issue, then, until they learn the language, and lack of choice or control. Those are just few of the stuff that they go over. And this really brings me toward one more thing I'm going to add toward the end. So these are the three main programs that we offer: the support group, what we call the wellness program, the social enterprise, and then the Well Institute. But in between, we also do things where the TimeBank has been really assisting us. I know that Rita and Christina and even was it Jasmine last time attended, have been really core member when it comes to our support group. And I know Christina, with her background in psychology, have really brought a lot to our support group contributions. But also we have been, during the COVID-19, at the beginning of COVID-19, we started doing food distribution, not just any food distribution, but we realized that a lot of some of the new arrival don't have cars. So we have been doing home deliveries, which really made it unique. because they might be a lot of places that do food, that distribute food, but usually you will have to drive there to pick up the food. But we have delivered the food, and that wasn't just for refugee. We've actually delivered it to also local Americans, community members that needed the food and did not have a ride or any means to pick it up. We have also provided toiletry. I remember back in, I think, I can't remember the year, just before pre-COVID. Isn't it interesting how we date ourselves now? It's pre or post-COVID. So pre-COVID, we have done a one of the largest first-time baby shower that we ever had here in the Tampa Bay community for a refugee. We had 21 pregnant women, and we had this huge baby shower, and the community really rallied. And we had our youngest volunteer was 2 years old. At 2, he was dragging Pampers and really setting it up. But what really impressed me was people who showed up. One thing that stood up, I had this guy that came all suited up. You can tell he business. He has his suit on, his southern accent. He just came. I thought he was lost or wanted something. He's like, where's the place to help with the baby shower? I'm like, oh. And we were doing the preset. It was a Friday afternoon where everybody's tired. And he took off his suit and said, put me to work. And I find out later he was a CEO of this large company. I'm like, oh, okay, but that didn't matter. What mattered was we had new neighbors that arrived that needed the help. And I share this because it makes me really smile. And those are things that the families, the refugee contribute. So I will let Courtney go ahead and pick up. But okay, let me honor what I mentioned. I did say I will let room for few questions before I give it to Courtney, and then specific to what I shared.
Anyone have any questions? You can use the reactions to raise your hand so we can see you. I'm not seeing any right now. Oh, nice to have Robert and Lisa and Sharon join us from Perlinas. Excellent. Well, maybe we're okay.
We have a question from Moore, which she put in a long time ago, which is, what are some of the things you do for the refugee women? I suspect Florence has answered that pretty well at this point, but I guess I just want to say that I speak both for Christina and for me and for Jasmine, that it has been an honor to be part of the effort you have been making. It is this beautiful sense of rapport with people of different cultural backgrounds and human personalities that we can relate to, like our brothers and our sisters. And in this case, sisters, because this is a women's group. But there is a strong bond that is developed. And even if language is in the way, and it is, so we really don't always know what's happening, there are translators, and they are so good at translating about every paragraph in multiple languages. So we always feel connected with the story as it goes forward.
Right. And, and although our entry point is our women, it really, by extension, we work with the whole family. We have worked with the husbands, the partners, the whole family. We used to have a children program, but after with COVID, we really had to limit that because of our Hillsborough County group decided to meet virtually. I know the Pinellas is meeting in person. So, but again, so those are just some of the things that we do among so many.
Mm-hmm. If I could just add a very quick thing, Courtney, when the monthly Zoom support meetings are happening, there are often women speaking several different languages. And so there's no professional translator, the women translate. So something will be said in English, Then Florence will translate into French for her Niger background. And you always hear, d'accord, d'accord. I understand, I agree. And then Swahili, and then maybe something else. And the part I love is maybe the Swahili women will hear their version and they'll start laughing because the translation was a little different than it was in the French and some of the other language. It takes a long time and it is beautiful. Everybody is patient and respectful, and it builds community in a very unusual, wonderful way.
Yeah, and yeah, it does, because it is the Zoom, and that's the one of the thing that we have to kind of make do. In person, it's usually because they sit by table. It's simultaneous, what we call simultaneous interpretation. So it's yeah, you don't have to sit through the different translation, but like Rita say, I think a lot of the time it seems seamless, because then you're hearing it. And I'm Rita and Christina, I'm waiting by the end of 1 year, I'm waiting to see what word you have learned so far in other languages. All right, so
I can say bonjour now. That's about it.
that's great. All right, Courtney, back to you now.
Sure. So Florence, I know we had talked about showing the beautiful video from World Refugee Day. Do you want to do that? I got it loaded up on my computer now, or we could also save that for the end too.
Well, maybe after all this long talk, do you want to do that?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Give me a second. I'll get it, make sure it's up on my screen, and then I will get that. I can screen share, and I have a visitor here who's helping me out. Okay. Let's see.
What is your visitor's name?
Let's see.
Courtney, what's your visitor's name?
This is my son, Axel. He's 11.
Hi. Hi, glad you joined us. What grade are you in?
You sit up and say hi. If you're going to be here, you might as well be here.
Hi.
He's in 5th grade.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
Glad you're helping your mom. That's
Yes.
very good.
He's a great helper. Okay, let's see. Let's get this video up here. And then as soon as I know that I have it going, I'll screen share. I just want to make sure that I've got this right. Oops.
Courtney, just FYI, when you're about to share, if you want us to hear the music, when you hit share, before it goes to selecting, turn on the sharing the audio.
Okay. Okay, let's see if I've got that. Okay. Share. Okay, does everybody see this?
Yes.
Oh, turn on Black Panther.
Okay. This is a video that our team put together for World Refugee Day, but it really gives you a beautiful overview of the refugee population, of issues, and of RAMWI as well.
What's he doing?
All right. I'm gonna stop share here for a second, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about So Much Hope. Do we have any questions at this point, or should I just dive into my,
Dive into my presentation.
I just want to say again that anybody who watched that set of slides can get why it is so much fun to work with this group of people. I mean, it is all there. The beautiful faces, the variety of personalities, the missions of goodwill, the liveliness, the fun, the creativity. It is incredible. And it has been a real blessing to get to know this bunch of folks.
And we are lucky to have you guys as well. I mean, it is truly, it takes a village. We are a strong community. We're lucky to have each other. I'm going to talk a little bit specifically about the social enterprise. I'm the director of social enterprise for RAMWI, and it is called So Much Hope because it is a sewing-based social enterprise. And we are collaborative social enterprise, which means that we have a few sewing volunteers that work with us. And what a social enterprise is just a business with a mission. And our goal and what we hope to create is that giving the women the opportunity to work in this business by seeing what is possible, we hope to ignite hope and lift up their dreams for the future. And the women are coming together to learn skills and to work together to make products that we sell at markets and online. It is a business, but it is also a community, a very strong community. And we've been working together for about 5 years now in St. Pete and over about a year in Tampa. And we have two groups. One, the original sewing workshop was in St. Pete, and now we have one in Tampa as well. And Giselle Lewis, who's on this call, oversees our Tampa group. And what I've seen over time is that working in So Much Hope Project really helps build confidence and pride. And we make beautiful, high quality, handcrafted goods. And when we go to markets and the women see the customers oohing and awing over the products, they really get to revel in that sense of accomplishment. And refugees and refugee women are some of the most incredible, resilient people that I have ever met. But when your life has been flipped upside down like that, these moments of pride and accomplishment and success and seeing what you can create with your own hands is a very tangible reinforcement. And for some women, it's the start of their own journey into entrepreneurship. So some of the women come into So Much Hope and then go on into our Intro to Entrepreneurship class, and they may not do anything that has to do with sewing, but it sparks their creativity and it sparks the idea of what could be possible. And additionally, one of the things that I love about So Much Hope is that by going to markets and advertising on social media, and we also partner with other businesses on custom projects, we are bringing awareness to the larger community about the challenges that families face during and after resettlement. It's a really interesting way to get in front of people who may not be looking for information about refugee resettlement and just think that they're shopping in a market. And it's a wonderful point of contact and communication and opportunity for education. And I really feel that we are a living example of the valuable contributions that refugees make in our communities. And for me personally, I really love this intersection of business and community. In RAMWI, we are all women. And here on this screen, we are not all women, but I think most people can appreciate a well-made handcrafted product. And in my mind, our products really symbolize the power of what can happen when people come together in a community. We started a sewing circle 5 years ago, and it has turned into a real business. And there are right now about 13 women that are earning supplemental income making our products. And some of them also have small cottage industries on the side. And there's one woman in our group who, from the income that she earned from sewing, she qualified for a microloan from a microenterprise development program, and then was able to go on and do more sewing on her own. And she still sews with us, but it's just, it's an incredible place to be, and incredible things have come out of it. And in my mind, selling more products and increasing our customer base means that more people are learning about the beautiful cultures and identities represented by the women of RAMWI, and we're creating an opportunity to see and celebrate our shared humanity. So that's my spiel. And I do have a video to follow up to give you a better understanding of what actually happens in So Much Hope Project. And I should say that everyone who is in So Much Hope Project is a part of RAMWI, and everyone goes to the support groups. And this is an additional opportunity for women that want to sew and have and possibly earn extra income or work in our business model and learn how it works. So let me get this going up here, and it will give you, oh, whoops, hold on. I know what I need to do now.
So maybe I could ask Florence while you're doing that, is there a package program, maybe something like what we just saw, that is able to be conveyed to a church group or a community, like I'm thinking UU and Clearwater, where the whole package could just be shown to stimulate the membership to be aware of the program and maybe interested in buying some of the wonderful handcrafted items.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that. Yes, we have had, Courtney, just let me know whenever you're ready.
No, why don't you finish what you were going to say, and then I'll start the video.
So we have had really to develop this. We do have a paper package for those who want to see where all of them, all the 3 programs are well elaborated on. It's easy to read package, but also we did get some groups, churches or groups who invite us, and we are able to come share about the work that we do. And depending, sometimes we had, for example, Palmacia one day had, after the service, they had a shop for a cause where we were invited. The women were able to bring their incredible, and she will see, Courtney will show you, they showed the product and they were able to sell it. And the women really were able to sell and see the community interact with them. So we do have those ready, and we're always willing to go wherever we're invited to be able to get people to share this.
Yes, absolutely. We are always looking for opportunities.
And I see Ellen asked how to get involved. After this video, we will share a little bit how you can get involved. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Susan, to press play.
Hello. Owetta, can you say hi? Cassie.
Oh, still playing in the background. So yeah, that's So Much Hope Project. It's been a
Wonderful, wonderful couple years putting that program together. Are there any questions in particular about RAMWI, about our sewing group, about anything?
I would just like to say that I purchased some things for one of our families out in Denver, and we visited them at Christmas time this year. And the 11-year-old turned to her mom on Christmas morning when her mom had received one of the necklaces. And she said, "Mom, I know I'm only 11, but could I work for RAMWI?"
And
Well, I told you our youngest volunteer was 2-year-old, right? Driving campers. I thought that was the most beautiful sight.
That is. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Oh, okay. I see a question in the chat. Is RAMWI local to the Tampa Bay region, or are we, let's see, or are the women from across nations? How do you add interested parties, and does RAMWI plan to support the Ukrainian refugees?
Go ahead, Courtney.
Okay, well, I'll take the first part. So we are local to the Tampa Bay area. We're not a national organization yet. And I think Florence, it knows a lot more about the technical aspects of Ukrainian refugees coming here, but I would say that, yes, I mean, absolutely. We are here to welcome any and all refugees that come. And Florence, because of her work in some of her other areas of her life, will know a little bit about the specifics of the Ukrainian refugee crisis.
Right. So when I started RAMWI about 8 years ago, I researched. There was nothing in the nation really to work with refugee women. It blew my mind. I thought there will be for sure something, and which is really one of the reasons. And with the amount, I am my background is in clinical social work, so I do mental health.
it's the same one.
It's really my passion. With the amount of depression and when I first started my work with refugees, even the suicide rates was really something that it really mesmerized me. I was really shocked to find out that there's such amount. Why am I sharing this? To say that our intent is to see the program to be duplicated, and we're glad to see that since RAMWI, other group have started. But I was really happy to see that being developed throughout the community. But right now we're serving the Tampa Bay. However, we are also something that we can mention. We're also partnering with all the organizations. Our intent is to be able to do consultant internationally. We've been called to do presentation because beside that part of the technical thing we do presentations on how to work with refugees, how to work with volunteers. So we do provide those type of things, which doesn't limit us to the Tampa Bay area. When we do those presentations, we have done it in different states. And some of our participants, actually, we had participants who relocated, and even volunteers who relocate, but who are still really active members. For our support group, for example, we have somebody calling from Turkey. We have one of our volunteer is in Finland. And from Finland, she assists and do a lot of the things. So I will say it's growing and getting international. When it comes to the Ukrainian, we are creating more program. We're here to be able to assist as much as possible. We're working with the resettlement agencies to avoid duplication of services, but also to be able to stretch the resources that are available in the community. So specifically something that is in need of greatly, it's a mental health support for all of the refugee, there is not a lot of, there is actually no mental health support when it comes to the refugee. I am the chair of the refugee mental health with the Tampa Bay task force. And I can tell you the gap that we see with when it comes to mental health and support, it's absolutely lacking. So right now, RAMWI is putting together curriculum. We do have the curriculum. We had a therapist that is joining the group. We want to be able to offer mental health, like really mental health services specifically to refugee that has been customized, that has been that obviously is evidence-based to be able to serve that population. So this is something we're working on. One of the great need, we're working on trying to get grants or support for that program, because we will have to be hiring therapists and in those areas. So I'm answering this, but I'm also answering some of the questions that I see as far as the need go. And then somebody asked about, let's follow the money. Where does the sell money go? The ladies get everything they make, they get paid. And Courtney, you can jump in and say, they, because again, they are higher like contractor, they get
Yeah,
paid.
I can explain. So when we very first started, we would make some stuff, go to a market, sell it. The women would split the money from what we made at the market, and then we do it all over again. And we've grown to a point where now the women get paid for absolutely every single piece that they make before it sells. And then it's on us to go to market and sell it. So they don't have to worry about that piece of the puzzle. They come to markets and they participate because they're learning, and we all work together, but their income is not dependent on what we sell at markets. Their income is dependent on what they make. And then after that, the rest of the proceeds go back into RAMWI.
And
And Courtney in particular, thank you so much. These two women are probably busier than most people on both sides of the bay. So for us to have you for an hour and a half is a real treat. Thank you so much for your time and for everything you do.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We
It's
are
an
blessed.
honor.
And
Yeah.
Florence takes the award for the busiest person in the world.
Hey, you know, my strength, I know where I get it. It's renewed every morning. So thank God.
Sharon?
May I have a closing remark?
Okay.
All right. Leviticus 19:34 reads, "But the stranger that dwells with you shall be unto you as one born among you, and thou shalt love him as thyself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God." I just wanted to leave that word in your heart about what you're doing, how you're treating them. You're doing it as if you were a stranger, and God honors that. So I just want to say, keep up the great work.
Thank you. And I know he does, because that's how this started, because I felt called to be able to do that and to serve my Lord by doing this. So yes. Yes.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
And thank you, Rita, for, as always, your gracious welcoming. And Andy, for you holding Spring Hill up. And BJ, who, laid every brick in St. Pete until she went on the road.
I just put some mortar to the bricks that Marie had put down.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And Ann and Joe have been at this for a millennia. Ann brings, well, Florence and Courtney in particular, thank you so much. These two women are probably busier than most people on both sides of the bay. So for us to have you for an hour and a half is a real treat. Thank you so much for your time and for everything you do.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We
It's
are
an
blessed.
honor.
And
Yeah.
Florence takes the award for the busiest person in the world.
Hey, you know, my strength, I know where I get it. It's renewed every morning. So thank God.
Sharon?
May I have a closing remark?
Okay.
All right. Leviticus 19:34 reads, "But the stranger that dwells with you shall be unto you as one born among you, and thou shalt love him as thyself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God." I just wanted to leave that word in your heart about what you're doing, how you're treating them. You're doing it as if you were a stranger, and God honors that. So I just want to say, keep up the great work.
Thank you. And I know he does, because that's how this started, because I felt called to be able to do that and to serve my Lord by doing this. So yes. Yes.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
And thank you, Rita, for, as always, your gracious welcoming. And Andy, for you holding Spring Hill up. And BJ, who, laid every brick in St. Pete until she went on the road.
I
And
just put some mortar to the bricks that Marie had put down.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And Ann and Joe have been at this for a millennia. Anne brings a lot of years of experience with all kinds of things. So I'm going to remember what you said about the little sewing group and there's a lot of good resources there. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Moore.
Bye.